Hi, I'm Omer Sasson. I'm on the Culture Matters podcast.
Omer, good morning.
Good morning, good evening.
Good evening. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't. We haven't come that far yet. Omer, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Culture Matters podcast on international business. That's where you are at this moment. We're recording this on March 3, 2025. Local time here, and here is Paris, is about 2 o'clock, 10 past 2. Omer, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where do you come from? Where are you now? And what would be considered your so-called cultural frame of reference?
Okay, so my name is Omer. For the past almost decade, I'm in Asia.
Hmm.
Uh, so I've been kind of growing up in China, but not really growing up from the age of about 23. I first I started by backpacking, and then I came back to China to study Chinese, and then I stayed in China for a few years for business. Uh, and after that, I've started to kind of business traveling with my wife in Asia, a little bit about what we do. So we do product sourcing. So we help brands to source products and manufacture products in factories in Asia. So all my business is around Asia. Right now I'm in Japan, but like 2 months ago I've been in Korea, and before this I've been in Japan and China and Vietnam. I'm moving all the time. Uh, my life are very dynamic.
Uh-huh.
I'm not in one place. Um, and I guess this is little bit about me, and this is why I was so happy to come to this podcast because I know you talk about culture, and I'm
Hmm.
experienced so much culture for the past 10 years.
Okay, that's cool. That's nice. How do you say you're from Israel originally, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so when? Oh no, let's put it different. How many times? No, how many years have you spent in Asia so far?
So almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah.
How do you get from Israel to Asia? It's not an obvious connection.
No, so it started just by backpacking trip for 9 months. So I've been traveling in China and Vietnam and Japan and Korea. I've been traveling for 9 months, and I came back to Israel to do the SAT test, the test you do before the university.
Hmm.
And then, like, I don't know, I felt like I want to go back to Asia, and I decided to go to learn a language. I said it must be useful, right? So I've been thinking, should I go to China to learn Chinese or go to Japan to learn Japanese? Japan is very expensive. I will go to China. So
A practical
uh,
decision. Uh-huh.
I went to China. I've been registered to a it's in university, but it's not an actual degree. It's like a language program. I've been learning Chinese, studying Chinese for a year. And during this time, I did some works here and there to, you need to make a living. I've been bartending, but I've been a bartender and doing some other stuff. And then when I was supposed to go back to Israel, I was like, well, I'm already in China. I'm speaking Chinese at this point. Maybe not fluent Chinese, but I know some Chinese. Why should I go back? Like, I think my starting point right now is much better.
Hmm.
And I decided to stay in China. And then I did some jobs at companies that do production and international trades.
Hmm.
And after that, I opened my own business. And then when COVID hit, COVID-19, I got a little bit stressed because when COVID-19 hit, in one day, all of China has been shut down. And I'm working with factories in China. So it's like in one day, the whole business has stopped. And I told myself that I cannot let this happen again, and I need to learn to work with other countries besides China.
Mhm.
And at that point, I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it through the computer. And I found it's really hard because what became easy for me in China because I know the language, I know the culture, I know the people. I
Mhm.
don't know it in Japan, I don't know it in Vietnam. It's a very different culture. And this is when we decide, me and my wife, to start traveling between countries. We are doing this together. And this way I could not just operate business and do business with those countries, I can also learn the culture, which is very important in this type of business.
Oh, yeah. Culture matters, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
More than people know.
More than people realize as well, because it's
Yeah.
a side effect or a soft skill, but it's actually a hard. For me, I mean, I'm preaching for my own people here, but of course it is. Um, would you agree? I don't prepare a lot. Sometimes I prefer to have just a casual conversation, if that makes any sense. Would you agree that the Japanese culture is the most difficult culture for Westerns to deal with in comparison to other Asian cultures?
By far. Like,
Why
so,
is that, and
okay.
what makes them so different?
So I have to say that I was shocked because, okay, Japan is the only country of all the countries I'm working with that I didn't try to do business because I need. Just for example, in Vietnam, there is a lot of business I needed to learn to do, a lot of products I need to source. Japan is the only country I wanted to do business with. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it's been, oh, but on the other hand, it's been the most difficult one because in China, for example, it's all around the money, around the cash. Like if you have enough money, you can do business. It's not a problem. In Japan, it's not about the money. You can have the money, you can have an established company, and like I sometimes I need to find myself for 6 months persuading a supplier in Japan to agree to sell me something. I'm paying him money. Yeah. I'm not selling him, but I need to convince him to work with me. They they are so I don't know if the word is afraid, but they are so afraid to disappoint you.
Mhm.
So they rather not to do business with you because of the small chance that maybe you will not be satisfied, you will not be happy
Mhm.
about the work with them. So they will rather not work with you. And the process is really tough and long that I kind of this is from my experience, okay? It's not something I learned in the books. Like it's a long process that I need to convince them, number one, that they can trust me,
Mhm.
and number two, that I know how to work with Japanese.
Yeah.
And it can be really frustrating, I have to say the truth.
Yeah, well, this is it's my personal experience as well, and it's a feedback I get from pretty much everyone, including yourself. It's the so I want to get back to what's on your LinkedIn profile. On your LinkedIn profile, it says that you have a deep understanding of Western and Asian expectations. I got that from your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
How does your deep understanding show, and what are the different expectations? And maybe if you first want to define or separate, say, Japan from Vietnam or from China, and maybe the US from Germany or something like that.
So I'll start with the Western people that, and I would say that for every country, the culture is totally different. But I find that there are a lot of common things. So, like for me to work with a customer in the UK or customer in the USA, though the culture is totally different, it's the same for me to work with both.
Hmm.
But in Asia, I feel it's much more different, even when I would expect it will be similar. So, one of my biggest surprises have been in Vietnam because Vietnam have a border with China. And I've been living in China for many years, and there are also many Chinese in Vietnam. So before I started to do business in Vietnam, I assumed Vietnam going to be very easy for me.
Hmm.
probably the culture is very similar, right? And I came to Vietnam and it was so much different. Again, it's not just about the cash like in China. It's not just about, hey, I want to buy something. They don't trust you. They are very suspicious. Just for example, in Vietnam. Uh, so I feel in Asia, though I would expect the culture will be more similar, it's more different, and it's you really have to you really have to adjust your mindset with whatever country you are working with in Asia. So like Japan, Korea also, like Korea is also totally different from Japan. And I feel like I'm talking a lot, but actually not saying
No, it's fine.
anything. But
It looks like you're struggling. Actually, you're living the problems. You're living the different issues.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm living the problem. And but I would say that even after all those years, okay, I wouldn't say I'm an expert of doing business in Japan. Japan is have such a deep and complex culture. You cannot be expert after a few years, but I would say that I learned to know what I know and what I don't know. And I know where are the gaps in the culture that I might gonna need help. So just for example, in Japan, I'm paying for a part-time employee right now because I understand there are certain gaps in the cultures that I cannot bridge by myself. You need a Japanese person.
Mhm.
So it's really something I'm still learning. And yes, like you said, I'm living the problem, but I I'm in the phase where I develop. Like every month I learn more and more, and it's not like in the beginning when like I was totally frustrated, like I don't understand what is going on.
Mhm.
And I have to say, like, by the way, China was also very difficult. So I don't want people to think that the culture in China is easy. Okay, just the business culture in China. Basically, if you have enough cash, so they will treat you well
Mhm.
because they want the money.
Mhm.
But I remember traveling in China and my first year of living in China, it was a total shock. Like how they behave, the things they do. Uh, yeah, I would say it's really difficult. Just when I'm talking about this, I realize how much the job I'm doing is difficult.
It's a good thing, Omer. So, what should I guess what should a Western do? And let's keep it to an Anglo-Saxon group, right? Because the German will react differently from somebody from Canada or the US. How should an Anglo-Saxon adjust his or her expectations or his or her behavior when doing business, say, with a country like China, and then even more difficult with a country like Japan?
So here's something that I noticed a difficulty with like American, Australian, UK, Canada, people that are working with China and Asia.
Uh-huh.
And the difficulty is the fact that English is their native language.
Yeah.
So they would speak with like they've been learning and speaking English all their life. So they have a certain level of grammar and spelling. And but the person on the other side, his English level isn't that high.
Yeah. Yeah.
And many time, if you would speak with your native language, uh, for you it will be very fluent, and you will assume he understand you while he doesn't understand you. So I think this is one thing that you really need to adjust. You need to understand, like, even though you are speaking English, you are both speaking English, but you don't understand English in the same way and in the same level, and also with the same meaning. It's not just about the text, it's about the subtext.
Mhm.
So I, in my first year in China, I had the opportunity to go sometimes to schools and stuff in China, and I saw how they learn English. And the words they are learning and the meanings are sometimes different. Like it's the same English,
Yeah,
but you wouldn't use this kind of words in common language. So this is something you really have to adjust. Even though you speak English, understand you need to simplify your English. Use very simple grammar. Even sometimes use like broken English, like broken grammar, but use the very simple grammar that if the other guy will use translation software, the meaning will be the same. Sometimes when you use a complex English in the translation, the meaning is getting lost.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a nice movie, Lost in Translation. No, that indeed, that happens indeed. I'm going to repeat again that we're recording this in March 3rd, 2025. As a reference, because The Economist recently had, so it's a must be January, February, an article about indeed how words translate in how the same English word translates in different depending on the context in a language like Mandarin that you are fluent in. So that's it's important to realize this. If if a Western, again, sticking to Anglo-Saxons, if a Western wants to gain trust with a Chinese versus a Japanese, what's the difference? How do we do that? How do I do this as a Dutchman?
Well, it's so different between Chinese and Japanese. So with Japanese, you really need to show if we are talking about business, like so you need to show you have an established business, the record of your business, what you do. You need to be very official. You need to start like there are gonna be some meetings just for introduction, okay? So this is with Japanese. On the other side, with Chinese, uh, you need to focus on what you can buy right now. So while the Japanese might be very focused on building long-term relationship, they don't even care about the money you have right now. So for the Chinese, I feel from my experience, it's the opposite. They want to know how much money do you have right now, not long-term relationship, not 1 year later, not how much you will be able to buy if you will grow the business. How much can you buy right now?
Right
And
now.
if you can buy a lot right now, they have reason to talk to you.
Is the traffic the say the money traffic flow, is that more from Western or European nations towards Asia, or is there a reverse situation as well?
Okay, so I can talk only about my business because I don't really understand in economy. So I can talk only about the trade business. So I'm helping brands to source products for retail mostly.
Uh-huh.
So it's mostly brands in Europe, America, UK that are buying from Asia and selling in their own countries in Europe, USA, Canada.
Yeah.
So I can say about this about other like bigger deals like oil and stuff. I don't understand in any of those things.
Okay. In your 10 years of Asia experience, what is the tell us a story about something that happened that you were as really confused as in what happened here? And which country for you is the easiest to do business with at this moment?
Okay, so the easiest is China by far, but I speak the language. I
Yeah.
have employees in China. I've been living many years in China, so it's easy for me because it's kind of my second home.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have like all the Chinese apps on my phone. I'm
Read
working
the
and
language
living
as
as a
well, I
local in
presume.
China.
You can read the
What?
language, you can read the language as
Yeah,
well, I presume.
yeah.
Yeah.
So China is the easiest for me. I guess that, again, the most difficult I've been in Japan, and I had a few events that I've been like, what? So one event is I went to meet a company that I've been in touch for a while before, and we had a meeting in their factory in Japan, and I came like very serious, like I wanted to buy their product in a high volume. And in Japan, mostly, you are not going to sit only with one person. You're going to sit with few people from the company. You are not actually going to know who is who does what. And there's going to be one person that doing the translation. Even if the director sitting next to him can speak fluent English, he will not speak English.
Mm.
The translator gonna talk. And I felt from the moment the conversation starts that the translator doesn't actually do his job. Okay, I don't speak Japanese, but I understand a little bit because I've been for a while in Japan.
Mhm.
And I felt some of the translation he did was not accurate. And I could feel from his tone and the way he's asking me questions and telling me things, I felt like it really felt like the translator is trying to kill the deal. And I really, because I wanted to do business with this company, I decided I put my ego aside, and no matter how the translator behaved,
Mhm.
I stayed calm and tried to keep the conversation for going on. And I really remember that during the conversation, I'm trying to understand what is happening because I'm for enough years in Asia to know, to feel, it's like a gut feeling that something is wrong.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to understand what is happening, why the translator is behaving this way. And at some point, I became Israeli and eh, I asked transparently, is there a problem?
Mhm. It's a
And
very direct question, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
to the translator, and he say, yes, maybe. And like, and I found myself saying, okay, so I feel it's not going anywhere. Let's finish this conversation. And this is like, I remember all the way back, I tried to analyze what happened. What did I say anything? Did I do anything?
Mhm.
And I couldn't find an explanation for this, by the way. Like, I really tried to analyze, and I don't know what happened. But it's been like a long ago, and I learned a lot from since then. But this is kind of stories that stick with me.
I can imagine. I can, but by the looks of you, I mean, if you're listening to this on your podcast feed here, you cannot see Omer, but it looks like if you go to YouTube as well, it looks like you like doing this. You have a big smile on your face when you tell these stories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this is part of why I like my business. So I travel a lot. I like countries in Asia. I like to learn cultures. And when I say learn cultures, it's not like from books. I like, to learn from local.
yeah,
I like to walk with them, to eat with them. I
mhm,
think you can learn a lot about culture from eating and food.
absolutely.
So yeah, I really like it.
What's what's your next opportunity? I mean, which country do you have you avoided? I'm trying to come up with a with an appropriate question. I mean, you talk about Vietnam, China, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. Are you
So
avoiding
the
them?
country I've been kind of avoided for a while, and not anymore, by the way,
Mhm.
is India.
Uh-huh.
Because India have also like they have their own mentality and culture. By the way, as a person, I'm much more suitable to work with Japanese people rather than a country like Indonesia or India or something. I'm very official person. I like to establish trust first. I like to work long term. I'm very suitable to work with Japanese.
Uh-huh.
India, it's totally different culture, and now I'm starting to work with India already for the past few months. But I have to say, I've been avoiding it for a long time because 10 years ago, when I've been in India, my experience wasn't that good. Uh, but probably a year ago, I've decided like I have to make the mind shift because there is a lot of business in India for me,
Yeah.
especially with everything going on with the tariff on China from the USA.
Right. Yeah.
So it's been like I don't want to say it's been a hard decision, but it was like something I said for many years. No, India is off limit. I don't understand this culture. And then like 1 year ago, I started to learn, and a few months ago, started actually to do business with.
Okay. Any plans on returning to Israel?
Probably next
Friends and
month.
family. I mean, but are you going to stay in Asia, or do you have an idea of coming
No,
back?
just for visit probably next month, but the way I see it, the next few years, I'm gonna stay in Asia. In Asia,
Mhm.
number one, we like it, like both me and my wife. Okay, so my wife also really enjoy it,
May I ask where
and
your wife is from, please?
Israel also.
Oh, also from, okay, so
Yeah,
not Asian, because that
no,
would have been, yeah, okay, yeah,
so we like it,
yeah.
and number two, my business is here, so for the next few years, probably gonna stay here.
Oh, okay, all right, just friends and family visiting. Okay,
Yeah,
right, great. I have two more questions for you, Omar. First question is, can you give us three tips to become more culturally competent, please?
yeah, I can give you very good tips.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but they're gonna sound so obvious and they are so not. Number one,
Uh-huh.
assume you don't understand them. Okay?
Okay.
Assume you don't understand them. Number two, assume they don't understand you. Really, I think it's a very big lesson I learned. And even for me, when I speak Chinese, and I will speak Chinese, Mandarin, okay, with the Chinese supplier, I will always assume he didn't understand me, and the opposite. Okay. And number three,
Hang on,
assume
hang on.
that,
No, no, no.
yeah,
I have a question about this. How does this help you?
okay. Let's assume I'm speaking to you right now. And I think maybe this guy doesn't understand me.
Mhm.
I will try to say the same thing in a different way. I will ask afterward a question that will help me to understand if you actually understood what I said.
Mhm.
Uh, so by assuming you don't understand, I'm gonna make sure you understand because I'm gonna say everything twice and three times, and I'm gonna ask questions. And okay, another example. Let's say I want to describe a product to you. I
Mhm.
will describe it in words. I will make a picture.
Mhm.
Maybe I will draw some diagram. I will use different ways to make sure you understand because I always assume you didn't.
Mhm.
And on the other side, I will also assume I didn't understand you. So you're gonna ask me something, and maybe at first I felt offended by what you said, but maybe this is not what you meant. So I will try to ask you, what did you mean?
Mhm.
So I think this tip, it's like it can change your life when working with different cultures.
Mhm.
So it's kind of related to what I said about the English before, speaking
Yeah,
English with Chinese.
yeah.
So assume you don't understand and don't just give up. Make them understand and make sure you also understand. Okay?
Okay, good.
Is it making sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm thinking about this because I'm thinking about this in on a personal perspective as well, because I've had some relationships with other people from different cultures, and I mean this is what I do, and it's therefore I asked for more clarification because it's the first time that somebody actually says something like this. Assume you don't understand the other. Assume that they don't understand you either, rather than saying, because my English is decent, I have a decent command of English as a Dutchman, so I can say something and then you should understand it because my English is good, right? My English is good, so you should understand it. But what you're saying is now my English can be good, but I should actually take into consideration that maybe you don't understand what I'm saying, and so I should clarify even more. That's what
And
you're
uh,
saying.
of course, that if it's like a friendly conversation, it's not a big deal,
Oh,
right?
well,
But if we are talking details,
yeah,
product,
yeah,
business, so it's number one about the details about the product. And number two, I might have said something that you would think it's like offending
yeah.
because something about the culture you're coming from, because of the translation. So I said before about the fact that the meaning might get lost in the translation.
Mhm.
One thing you need to remember that in China, for example, Google is blocked. They don't use Google Translator. They use another translation app that work terrible, by the way. And the meaning many times gonna get lost. So, but if I assume that for the first time I write something you didn't understand, I will now write it in a different way. Now there is a bigger chance maybe in the second translation, maybe now you will understand the meaning, or in the third time. I would say that big part of my work of sourcing product, I say my, but it's also like my employees, is to all the time verify and validate the information and the answers we are getting from the suppliers to make sure they are accurate before we are sending them to the customer, and also the other way around.
You had two tips. You had a third one as well?
Yeah. So it's kind of similar, but I have to say, assume there are things you don't know that you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And this is not just about understand the meaning. It's little bit also like what happened to me in the meeting in Japan. And actually, I have many stories like this in Japan. That the meaning, the meeting have been weird. And instead of like assuming I know what's going on, no, maybe there are things I don't know that I don't know about, even about the culture. Like I assume I don't know uh, how the Japanese might react to different kind of words, and I assume I don't know maybe how to behave in a dinner,
Mhm.
business dinner. Should I put my hands on the table or not? So when I assume I don't know, I will be much more careful in everything I do or say.
Yeah. Good point. Last question, Omer, is how can people get in touch with you should they want to?
So if you can post my LinkedIn and my Instagram profile, they can just DM me and we can schedule a call
Okay, like that. Good business.
directly.
Directly, indeed. With the Dutchman, it's fine. Yeah. All right, Omer. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best, and I'm pretty sure we'll talk to each other in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.